Hey, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Paint Party Livestream. I'm so glad to have you with me here in the studio this evening. I hope you had a great weekend and the new week is off to a great start. This live stream is my learning to paint journey. Several years ago, I started teaching myself to paint using YouTube tutorials, and every Monday night I meet you here in my studio to work on a new painting. So that is the process. The live stream, for those of you who've been here before, you know it's pretty laid back. I enjoy interacting with you during the live stream, so you can participate in the live stream wherever you're watching us, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, via the comments. So feel free to make a comment and you can participate in the live stream. So ask questions, make comments, make suggestions. I always enjoy carrying on a conversation with you as I paint. Yeah, that's it. It is pretty, as I said, laid back. Stay as long as you'd like, pop in, pop out, or stay for the duration. We usually paint about 1.5 to 2 hours. So yeah, that's what we are doing here this evening. Let me jump right in. I'll show you what we're going to be working on this evening, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Starting to set into fall weather here. This week I pulled all of my heavier sweaters, sweatshirts, and such out of storage, and so we have been getting kind of fluctuating temperatures, but it is starting to cool down here. I guess that is normal for this time of year here in the northern Black Hills. We have been lucky to have a pretty long fall. We're already mid-October. We haven't had any snow yet, any real freezing temperatures. Maybe it's popped. I think it's been down like 34 degrees Fahrenheit. But in the next few weeks, we'll have our first hard freeze, and then things will really progress from there. The leaves have been slowly falling off the trees. I did go out this weekend into the countryside and see some of the beautiful foliage, but most of the leaves have fallen. Specifically the aspen leaves, but there are pockets across the hills, and it's nothing like pockets of aspen in the middle of the evergreen deciduous forest. It's just beautiful, bright yellow against the green, so that's always enjoyable this time of year. But let's jump in. Welcome again to those of you who are just joining us. Let me switch over to this camera while I set this up, and I'll tell you what we're going to work on. Trying to dodge multiple cords around here, but I'll set this up. The last 2 weeks we worked on a painting from a recent trip I took to Puerto Rico. Some of you saw that painting. It was of what's called a flamboyant tree. They have bright red blossoms on them, and they're a very kind of distinctive plant in the tropics. So that was a lot of fun, and we worked on that the last 2 weeks. But this week we're gonna work on something a little bit different. Let me, yeah, I think that'll work. We are going to work on something a little bit different. Let me put it up here. This is the well-known castle on the old city walls of Old San Juan in Puerto Rico. They have these lookout towers on the castles, on the forts, but there was one on the side of the wall of the city here, and that is, you see across the bay, you see the rest of the island there in the distance. Excuse me, but we are going to work on this. Sorry for the yawn. We are going to work on this evening and see what we can do. And I'm going to try a little bit of a new technique that I have not used before. And we'll just see what happens. We will see what happens. So let me get some gloves on because I'm already getting paint on my hands, which isn't really a big deal, but rather not. Oil, for the most part, unless you're using like cadmium colors, oil paints are not a problem. or if you're using zinc white or something that has actual zinc in it, or cadmium, it's not a problem. But I just got used to wearing gloves, and it keeps things relatively clean because, yeah, you don't get paint on your hands as easily. So, hope everyone had a good week. Feel free, as I said, to participate. Welcome, those of you just popping in. Participate in the live stream via the comments wherever you're watching. You can ask questions or make comments there. All right, let's see if we can jump right in. The white seems good. I'm just seeing if I need to put some new paint on my palette. Probably I'm gonna, at least the brown, my burnt umber dries out pretty quick, so it gets kind of it's a fast drying pigment, which is good, but also it gets crusty really fast. So we are going to see if we can take some of that out of there and put new paint in. Let's see. There we go. Actually, I should be also put this up so you can kind of see at least close to what I am mixing. All right. Why not just clear out the palette? Probably should do this more often than I do, because I get these little crusties in there. But it's like one of those things you don't think about until you start doing it. It's actually quite satisfying, but yep. So when you start scraping some of the paint off the plastic, I probably honestly should do this every time I paint. I should scrape off the residual paints as far back to the plastic as I can go, at least. But that's not my style, apparently. Takes a little too much planning and preparation, but once you start, then it is, like I said, really satisfying. So that's probably why I'm like, might as well get it all scraped out. Okay, let's see. Everyone's quiet tonight. Probably just because I'm scraping paint, and that's not particularly exciting, I understand. Oops. Should probably clear out this white since I've contaminated it with all the other colors I was scraping out. Even though the white is somewhat usable, it stays pretty wet for, well, these have been in the, I didn't get to paint this week, so they've been in the freezer since last Monday. So that kind of tells you how long they stay the white stays pliable pretty well. Quite a while. Okay. Whoops. Okay. All right, let's get started by putting some more burnt umber onto our what I'm going to do, I mentioned a new technique. I'm going to take a little bit, and instead of, typically I build up a painting kind of in layers. So we're going to see if we could actually do it opposite this way and paint it section by section. And I've never ever done that, so this could be a complete mess, but we will see. It's worth trying and seeing if it works and if I like it. We'll add kind of our main colors, my white, my blue, my brown. Those are kind of those end up being my black and my white, my grays. And probably need some, well, we'll need some teal because the water. So I'm going to put, I don't usually put the turquoise on my palette, but we will do a little bit of that. We'll put that right there. And right next to it, we'll put the cobalt blue. Or not cobalt, but cerulean blue. If I can get it open. There it goes. Whoa. That will be the foundation of our sky color. So we'll put that next to right there. And we'll have some greens and yellows and such on the side, but we'll decide how much of that because we're going to adjust our composition a little. Let me switch you to canvas view. There you can see my canvas. As we get going, feel free to make comments, ask questions, and such. All right, so I'm going to wipe this up, and then I think I'm just going to get a new paper towel because this one is got quite a bit of color on it, and it is making a mess already. Okay, I'm going to draw in some of the, I want to draw in some of the composition. So I'm just going to take a little brown with my paint mineral spirits. We'll just dilute it way down so it's fast drying and really runny. Okay, so let's start and really, let me pull my, okay. I'm being fairly precise with this drawing, and this will make sense in a minute. Whoops. I said I was being precise. what we're going to do, greetings, is this place you have been in your many travels? This is, yes, this is one of the forts, or the city walls of Old San Juan, so recent travels. All right, now I'm going to do kind of the green. I'm just going to do this like as a, oh, maybe not. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll take out that hill, and instead maybe I'll carry this, because I like what this does, kind of this mountain range, like very subtle in the background. I love that. To adjust the shape a little bit. Then, yeah. Then I think we'll just do water. Simplify it a little bit. Okay. That's the basic drawing, because I want most of the focus to be on this lookout. Can't remember what they call them. Not a guard tower, but it's basically a sentry box. What's fascinating is if you ever tour the actual forts in Puerto Rico in the 40s during World War II, they added World War II lookout towers. So you have these ancient, from like the 1600s, 1600s, 1700s forts, which is this traditional, and then all on top of them all of a sudden there's a, and I didn't even notice it till I read a placard and it pointed it out. So it's strange. But yeah, they added some World War II. Okay, so now what we're doing is we are going to take an approach. Usually I start laying in major swaths, like I'll do the background, I'll do different things. But what we are going to try to focus on is just laying in very specific values, almost like tiles, and we're just going to draw the piece little by little. So let's look at we want a little bit of white. We're going to want a little bit of brown. And maybe a little yellow ochre. So let's put a little yellow ochre out here. Good to see you, Bob G. I I need to reach out. Last week I started I think I told you, but I started a long-term sub gig at the high school, and last Friday, so I have been, last week was a little crazy just getting used to all of that, but it's weird not having relatively flexible time during the day. But okay, I'm putting a little bit of yellow with the burnt umber, because what we're trying to do is, I'm starting at the top basically, and I'm just gonna lay in what I see piece by piece. Need a little bit. Put too much blue into that, so I want to lighten the value up a little bit. Then I want to start to go across the top and side. I don't want to blend too much. Then this a little bit more. Let's see if this is too much. Kind of the shadow side. I will need to work this a little bit. We're going to come across here, then put in kind of a shadow. what should happen is that as we lay in each panel, essentially, the image will emerge. That's the goal, at least. I just thought it would be fun to experiment with this because it is there are a lot of value shapes in this particular it trains your eye to really look and compare one value tone to the other. There we go. Now I'm going to take this down, see if I can start to draw in this. So we'll start to put in some shape, if that makes sense. need to figure out how to do these lighter colors that are over here in the The more I look at this, the more I think I might have been there when I was involved in SEME International. It's very possible because, sorry, I'm messing with these layouts, you guys, so that I can put this. We had a world conference in San Juan. It's very possible because these, if you did any tourist stuff at all, you would have gone to El Morro Castle. The El Morro is the fort on the edge of San Juan at the point of the bay, and yeah, you would have seen these. They are on both El Morro and San Cristobal, which is the other kind of the other fort that's right behind the Capitol, but they're right in the same part of Old San Juan. So it would make a lot of sense that you were there. Okay, I'm doing some of this. I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Oh, that's a really dark. I don't know if it's that dark. There are parts of this that are that dark, because there are, it's like a dark spot. Then it gets kind of lighter as it comes up. And I want to do really light up here to bring in now. What I need to do is come back here to that kind of dark color. Need the darkness. I need to lay in these spots. I have to mix spots that are fairly dark down here. We want it want to take this color and do, or not, I mean, yes, it's color, but also I'm going to take this all the way till it just disappears there. There's actually a walkway. I thought it was a shadow, but there's actually a walkway that goes all the way, but it just, so there. Then the other place we need is somewhere like right in here. We need a all right. Then what we want to do is bring in some more lightness of this. I mean, it's still got to be dark, but bring in some of this and start to we got to do a bunch of different tones for all these. Notice that when we get as we get the values right, again, the tone or the shape starts to appear. And there's more of a gray color in there that's more more gray. I would love that, Ethan. see. Now I need to this looks like kind of a square, which I don't want. So I want to take some of this and do see, we put a sharp line against there. All of a sudden the sun comes out. It's really yellow. Let's diffuse this. We'll bring in some red. I don't know. And we're going to take this. Trying to bring this. This is all in the sun, so. That we need mix of a variety. I want to keep most of these. I want to keep most of the strokes lengthwise because that's kind of we have these periodic spots that are stones, so we want to put those in. They look okay. Looks a lot darker than it does on your screen. Where's a gray? Let's take the gray and put a big ol' block of that in there. Then there's pink. Almost a white, peachy white. There's this mortar that goes along this edge. Oops, just got paint on my camera, sorry. I'm gonna wipe this off before it, oil won't dry, but I need to get off the screen. Okay, so I think we're getting there, little by little. But now I need a Why did you choose the wood panel to paint this on? It's actually not a wood panel. It is a canvas panel that's just been toned with kind of a burnt umber base. And the reason to do that is because it's easier on burnt umber to see the difference when I start putting in if this was white, then this would look darker than it actually is because of the white. And so by putting that in, then I can judge this. So then when I put in the sky needs to be lighter in value, if that makes sense. So it just helps me to see a little bit better, in my opinion. Some artists don't agree, and that is perfectly okay. But at least for now, I should probably experiment a little bit with different. And you can tone, like if this were a cloudy, like if it were cloudy day, then I might tone it more to the green or blue side as opposed to kind of a warm brown, if that makes sense, because then you get the advantage of a green or the cooler colors. Now the challenge now is when I'm putting in these brick colors, it's a very bricky red, but you can't really even see it against that tone. So I need actually I need a little yellow ochre. Wait, is that what I already have? That's what I have out there. So I need yellow ochre mixed with probably, that just seems so yellow. Isn't it funny? It's not even lemon yellow, but I need kind of a tan color. Diffuse it a little bit. There we go. I think that's the color I need to do this against there. We'll have to see. It's really not the right value there. Maybe that's it. Because it's in the sunshine. There we go. You want to see that this is a different tone than those bricks. I don't actually know what this material is. It's kind of like just a gravel. There, now you can start to see, you want to take some of this, put it along the edge there. That's not very distinct, but we can put we can suggest some lines there. Then we want to go to this color again, that's that bright. Say it's white. Kind of, then we want to put in a very clear line there. I'm now kind of switching back and forth with different techniques. This one I'm actually painting the there, but I think it helps. Now, I'm going to continue to go in here, put in some dark spots. So we need Hey there, Mom and Dad. One of my favorite sites on the island. This is actually in Old San Juan. It's along the old wall over the port, but it was just the first time we came around the corner and I saw it, so we had to take pictures there because it's a good thing because I got down to El Morro, but Betsy never did, so we still got the quintessential image. I don't want to... It's hard to do this because then if you do too much, you mix the colors and then it's hard to get the feeling of, like here it just looks like it all blends together. There's no feeling of you have to kind of disrupt that a bit so you get the feeling of the stones and that it's not just all together, but you have to kind of figure out a way to do that. So that's my effort. So let's go up here and we can these all look like they're running together, but it looks better. You're also looking down on it, so you're not getting the and I can come in with a second layer. I don't want to do that, but I can do that and put some more detail into these stones, but rather not overwork it. There. Well, we're getting the feeling of our sunlight is good. We're getting our so Now, all right, we're going to put a little shadow there. Okay, now we have a few minutes, so that gives us a shadow. Then we can come in, put darker spots in the shadow there. I think it's reading really nicely. Okay. Oops. This is making me very happy. Now, I want to put these up for a minute because it's such a big part of our scene. I want to put in agua. So I'm going to take this turquoise. We're going to mix it with little cerulean blue. We need a little bit. This is not a... Maybe even a little... There's the green color. Might need some... little bit of medium to help it spread. I think I have way too much, so therefore I am going to get some more turquoise. Yeah, we need lots of turquoise. But we want that bright. This was taken also in the heat of the day, like bright, which is probably one of the worst times you can take a painting. Want something a little less there. Want a bigger brush. So let's take this and just start putting this in. We'll need a lot of paint because this is a transparent, fairly transparent color, as you can see, and we want it to really jump. So we will take some of this, mix it a little bit. We get that turquoise mix. That'll give us a little bit of I love this turquoise. It's really thick pigment. And I'll have to do another coat of this just because of the background. Let me pull this out a little bit. I'm going to hold it with my hand, whoops, so that I can get in here. We want more of the green blue down at the bottom. I'm just trying to coat it, but you really want the green in there too. So you get some of that. I think over here we want the I don't normally do architectural paintings like this, where you have to have absolutely straight lines, because, you know, if you're doing a tree or a whatever, you don't need that necessarily, but if you're doing a building, you absolutely do. Okay, whoops. Then you get a little crazy and you do something like that. All right, well, that gives us a base, and I'm going to put some of this green in here. Just so it's not garishly blue. But we also need a little bit of this, because there are these points where the sky is reflected. So you want some of that as well. And I'll probably have to wait till it dries to really do some of that, but that gives you that feeling of different colors in the water. And as you get closer, you have see more of the waves or the ripples of the water. we got this. Now let me step back just a bit, take a look. Okay, looks pretty good. It looks a little weird to you on yours because you're looking again from above, but looks pretty good. Makes me happy. Now, put this brush over. Now we want to do these are really high pigment. These green ones I'm going to set aside because they are just, can't really use them for anything else because that green is so crazy. So I want to go in here and figure out what the colors and are going to be for my, I might have to use a different brush because this one's red. Might be able to do this. Okay, I need white. And I need basically a gray. Okay. Gray, white, brown, and blue. And a little bit of yellow. So we get a little bit of green because it's a little bit closer. Okay. So we have this that's kind of the dark. That's a dark. Actually, now what I want to do is take this Now, I want to take this white we want to take this all the way back. Except I need to come back in here. I think I need a more of a I let these get a little high, but that's okay. Now, I need to take this up into kind of a yellow. Because this is going to be like our cloud color. We'll need to and I'm clearing, with the magic of my paintbrush, I'm clearing a lot of the smog out. So this is, now we want to come in with some blue. We want to start to, up here is our brightest blue. So we'll come in up high with the brightest blue, the most saturated blue. Again, I'm going not necessarily exactly for the not exactly for the reference photo. I'm going for the feeling of what it was like there. So that's kind of what I'm going for, if that makes sense. I want people to look at it and say, oh my goodness, you know. I want people to look at the picture, the painting, and say, oh, I wish I was there, or oh, I can imagine myself being there. That's what I'm going for. When we get closer to the down here, these things almost run together. So that's we'll take this right up to I'll have to come in and redraw these lines, but it gives us the sense. Oh, I'm so glad you popped in to see it. I was gonna tag you when I posted it. Yes, it is iconic, and this was actually taken on the wall, the old city wall, not actually at the fort, but it was just a perfect view of the island in the background, and so I had to snatch it up. And then I'm kind of idealizing it for my purposes. Okay. I think that's too dark. I'm trying to create a sort of shadow color for these clouds. See if that helps. Kind of helps us blend in the once we kind of get the main pieces in, then we can. Now this is looking a little too turquoisey. So I don't know, maybe Thanks so much, Mr. G. I hope you and Jim are doing well. I really need to catch up. I know we've both been super busy. It's kind of crazy during the school year, isn't it? I mean, all good things, but man. That sounds great. That would be wonderful. I would love to figure out. I do have a free hour in the middle of the day, so we could do a quick catch up in between classes, and then maybe some evening we can do a more in-depth catch up. All right, I want to figure out what I'm seeing is 2 lines here, so I want to figure out how to break that up into, and I think I've talked about this before, but the human mind wants to see patterns. So clouds can be really hard to do because we end up like that. We create lines and lines instead of some realistic patterns that but I think this really stands out like it's in the sun with that blue, and it just feels really cool. So I want to preserve that feeling in the as much as possible. As much as possible. I just feel like there's this whole need to break these up a little bit, but we'll see. I'll come back in and do some detail work on this later, I think. But it gives us a good place to go. And if I want to paint over some of these clouds in the future, I can do that. You know, I'm really pleased with this painting so far. It is really cool looking. And the main character really stays the main character, which makes me happy. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. I am going to switch cameras again to say good night, but I hope that you have enjoyed this. Let me back this up a little bit so you can see looking more straight on at this painting. And let me get rid of this out of your way so you can see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Looks really cool, doesn't it? From the when you just look at it direct on, I think it really came together. I do think there is something about doing this. We started block by block by block and just one next to the other, and you do end up with a really, I'll have to play with this technique more, but yeah, you do end up with a really cool and I think a well developed painting. So I'm going to switch you back here, and then I'm going to move this camera around again. I hope, as I said, you all have a good rest of your week. I hope your fall season is off to a good start. And we will be back here Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time once more. So thanks. I'm really proud of it. All right, so I zoomed in. Let me zoom back out. There we are. And I'll step back here. Okay, so this is a cool, that's what it looks like. I like this study. I may actually do this as a larger painting. I wondered if it had enough not gravitas, but like if it had enough to turn it into a larger painting. And I think it does. So I may do a larger version of this. I just think it looks really, really cool. And I'm super proud of this. So that is it. Almost completely done. I mean, there are some, adjustments, but without overworking it, like to, do too much on it. I think this is a good place. So I want to say good night. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I will be with you next Monday night at 6 p.m. And this will be the 149th episode of the live stream. We're almost to 150 episodes of the live stream, which is crazy. If you think of weekly, that's 3 years. I've been painting a little bit more because I started in June or July of 2021. So yeah, it's about a year and a half. So for the most part, we've kept pretty consistent. We've missed a few here and there when I've been traveling, but pretty proud of that accomplishment that I have painted consistently over the last 3.5 years. Learned a ton, still learning a ton, and excited. For those of you who weren't here last week, let me show you. This was the painting we did last week. I told you the flamboyant tree. Again, it was kind of cool. I think the cool part here is the shadow, but and I noticed something that I think can improve this pretty dramatically, so I may go in and do a little adjustment here, but for the most part I think it's a great little painting. Really proud of that. So that is my Puerto Rico series. I may do some more paintings from that trip, just because there were so many beautiful places and spaces and pictures we took, so may do some more from those references. But I want to say good night, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care.